It's a great day. My name is Che Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue-focused late-night show in the country where we are on a mission. And our mission really is to empower. Our mission is to inspire. And our mission is to provide you, that's right, you, the hard-working entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. In this episode, we have the one and only, she's there, Carla L. Coates. That's right, the L is important. She's in the building. And she'll be talking about leadership has limits, like the power of no. Interesting. What's going on, Carla? How you doing?
Doing well. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show. The question got on everyone's mind has to be the power of no. And I know it's going to be a crazy question, so don't say no. But why are leaders struggling, or why are they so worried or fearful about saying no? Like, they're the boss. I don't understand. So why are we talking about the power of no on today's conversation?
Well, we can take it two different ways. So if they're a leader in an organization, sometimes they're afraid of saying no because they have leaders above them. So it's that fear of, if I say no in protection of my team, there may be a negative thing that may happen to me afterwards. But then when we shift to an entrepreneurial point of view, we have the power to say no to ourselves in protection of us.
So what does that look like, or why are we so fearful of saying yes too much then? I'm just going to go to the opposite, and we'll get into her background, ladies and gentlemen. She'll tell you how famous she is in a few minutes, and we'll talk about all that cool stuff. But first, you take about the flip side. What's the fear of saying yes too much?
Yes, too much, because let's say everybody has a calendar. Okay. You have a calendar in there. Where are you on that calendar? On a daily basis, where are you? Let's say from an entrepreneurial point of view, where are you on that calendar? So if you say yes to everyone else, every particular client, all your leads, every single thing, then you tend to say no to yourself, and then you become an overwhelmed entrepreneur. There's no way we can just continue life and saying yes to everyone and not take care of ourselves. My tagline is always, if you take care of the people will take care of the mission. But first, you must take care of yourself. So if you don't have yourself on your calendar and you just say yes to everyone else, your business is running you. You're not running your business.
Well, we're talking about leadership has limits. Spot on. I love your mantra, by the way. Leadership has limits. How does a leader know when they're reaching a limit? So I guess it's really a two-part question. What are limits? Because limits means different things to different people. So I'd like to get your view of the world. And then all the way on the other side, like, how does someone even know that maybe I'm reaching my limit? I need to slow down.
Yeah, well, it's called getting to burnout or close to it. So I'll tell you, I tend to tell this story about one time had this huge project, and I had people throughout the country who we were responsible for, and we had to complete this huge Navy project. Well, I became overwhelmed to the point I didn't know what to do. I thought I enjoy what I'm doing, but this is too much. And I said, you know what? It's Thursday. I need to take off. So I went to my manager. She was in uniform. And she said, Carla, what's going on? I said, I need to talk to you. And she said, about what? I said, about me. She said, all right, come on. We go into her office, and I tell you, Che, I hate to be that kind of woman, but as soon as she closed the door, I sat down and I cried. And I'm thinking, where did these tears come from? I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I was so embarrassed. But she didn't say anything. She just sat there just like this, and she listened to me. And so I began to tell her how overwhelmed I was. And ultimately, I need you to give me off tomorrow. I need to be off. I need to get away from it. And then she said, okay, Carla. Okay. She listened to me. I calmed down. I felt a little bit better. And then as I walked to my office, I saw the gentleman who was one of the leads of the project. And this is what he was doing. He was on his cell phone. I thought, okay, The problem is you, Carla, you're not delegating. You have a staff that is able to do far more than you even know. This was a highly skilled staff, but I was holding everything back. And I was on the tipping point of being burnt out. So I said to myself, I'm still going to take off tomorrow, Friday, but on Monday, it's going to be a new Carla. So I started to delegate. This is my line, Che: delegate, delegate, and delegate some more. And I began to delegate. And then afterwards, months later, that same guy who was on his cell phone doing nothing, he was actually sitting there just chit chatting with someone. He
Mm-hmm.
said to me months later, "You know what, Carla? Now that we're busy," and I just had to laugh. I'm like, "Now that we're busy," that's because I held everything on me instead of giving it to the team. I hired this team, a high performing team, but I kept everything to myself. But once I started to delegate and delegate and delegate some more, I had freedom. So I was actually saying no to me in order to support the project, in order to build my team. So that's one area. And then I still stick to the entrepreneurial side. And I'm gonna share something that I've recently started just within my own business. I felt the same thing. I felt overwhelmed. I'm like, here I go again. I'm doing everything. I've got a couple of people on my staff, but why am I so burnt out? Why I can't even think. I remember Christmas coming up a month ago, and my friends would say, "Oh, we need to do this thing for Christmas," and I'm thinking, "Christmas? What?" I was so overwhelmed. And again, like that line I said before, my business was running me. And I kept saying yes to every single thing. And Carla Coates was not on my calendar. And I said, for 2026, I will run my business and I will say yes to me, and I will build boundaries, and I am going to take off every Friday. That was huge. It was so huge that I couldn't believe that I had actually decided to make that as part of my life and to care for me instead of the business. Because, entrepreneurs, we're supposed to grind, grind, grind. But no one ever told me, Carla's going to come to a point that you're going to allow your business to run you. And then you're not going to enjoy your business anymore. You're going to regret even, you know, building that LLC. And I said, I can't do that because this is my dream. So I have to take care of me. Does that answer your two questions?
And answered it spot on. And as you were talking, someone right now that's meeting you for the very first time, no matter how famous you are, by the way, all over the world, someone else is listening saying, "Shit, I'm in the kitchen right now and I'm cooking dinner. I like what I'm hearing, but I don't know her. Like, what's her story, Shay? What's the backstory that led her to what she's doing?" I get it. I guess some of you might listen to the podcast right now. Maybe we're just playing as background noise. You're like, Shay, as she's talking, it's making sense. There's some things I'm thinking about. What could I delegate to make my life easier, make my business easier, or give me more time with my family? So we'll slow down for a moment if that's okay with you. And we'll ask the question that you're probably used to getting all the time, which is, who are you and what's the backstory for those folks that are meeting you for the very first time that led you to being on the path you're on now?
Okay, thank you for that. So my backstory is something that's kind of simple. I was promoted. I started in the private industry and I was a manager. And then a friend of mine said, "Oh, Carla, you should join the federal government." I said, "Why? You guys don't work?" She said, "Yes, we do, Carla." So I interviewed for a position in the Department of Navy and I was accepted, selected, however you want to phrase it. And then I thought, okay, this is an opportunity for me to grow. So I continued to apply for positions and I was promoted constantly, constantly. And this is as a supervisor. And then I applied for some folks are familiar with the government. You have the GS-15 level. So where I was, you're like a manager of a manager. You're considered a junior executive in some areas. So I applied for it and I got it. And I thought, I'm just going to continue to do what I know how to do because they accepted me. What I didn't know that it was a far different position than the other ones, far different. And I just looked at my employees like, you guys are pretty lame. I didn't say it, but I thought they were lame. And I said, all I want is a happy team. I want a high performing team, but I didn't have it until one day. And I always tell people this, you're going to have a point, a breaking point. So one day, the executive who hired me, she stormed into my office and she cursed me out for 90 seconds. And I've never been cursed out before. And I thought, I'm going to lose my job. I was terrified. But what it did, it taught me that, you know what? I need to grow in my leadership. Yeah, you can be trained to be a good supervisor. You can manage and dole out the work. But to be a leader is far different than being a supervisor manager. So I took courses, I read books, I learned how to work on my mindset. I learned how to shift from the focus on me to the focus on my team. That was huge because it was all about me and my career. I could really care less about the team. But I shifted from my focus from me to the team and also became a certified coach twice. And then after some time, my team turned around because again, my focus was on them. They won awards, I won awards, but I was far more happier when they won awards. And it, like I mentioned my mantra before, uh, I learned this mantra from one of my employees. If you take care of your people will take care of your mission. So that's my backstory.
Well said. And as you were sharing that backstory, congratulations on being cursed out only one time in your life, by the way. That's not bad. That's not bad. I'll take those odds any day. Someone said that right now. For the person saying, I love what I'm hearing, I'm struggling, Shay, because I have this feeling, and maybe she has a view of the world. And the feeling is, if I don't do it, it doesn't get right or the way I would do it. I know
Mhm.
it's a cliche, but many of you out there might be thinking, yeah, I wonder what her view of the world is. How does she handle or talk? What does she share with leaders who feel like, they've got to do it a certain way? What would you say to that
Yeah.
person that's watching right now and listening?
Well, okay. I usually I'm a direct person, so when I'm not direct, I start to stumble. You can hear it already. I'm starting to stumble, and I'm going to be honest, Jay. You know, it starts with our ego. It really starts with our ego because we need to focus more. You think about it from a not that when you're in a leadership position that you're a parent because you're not. You're dealing with adults, but as
Good
a
luck.
when you're a parent you are really focusing on the maturity, whatever it is for that child. So let's shift it over to a leader. It's the focus on your team. So when you have, let's say you have a certain process, and I'm gonna say something silly. How do I get from here to from my front door? Well, I can give you a path and you can take it. But the person can say, you know what? I can go out the window around the gate and get there faster. Is that safe? Can you do it? Watch me. I can get there faster and everything will be fine. Because isn't the goal for me just to get to the front street and not to go that other way? That I got to go around the bathroom. I got to go into the living room, the foyer, and I've got to go do all these places. It's about you letting it go and being able to trust the person because everyone wants to be trusted. You can't tell me there's no employee, there's no human being that says, okay, I need my supervisor or me, my leader to not have any trust in me. Everybody wants to be trusted. And then once you give them that time and you let go, it sounds so weird, it's so cliche. Once you let go and you see that, hey, they were simply able to go across the street their way because the actual goal was to get across the street. They did it. May not have been my way, but they did it. And all is well. But it's first letting go of that ego, working on your mindset and letting go of that ego and just putting some strong trust in that employee. Now, if they fail, hey, use it as a training session and let them know, hey, man, however you want to say to them, hey, George, we can't let this happen again. I'm going to help you. I may bring somebody along. I don't have time to help you, but I may bring somebody else who's been through this same path to be able to help you, or I can simply help you myself. But this cannot be a constant occurrence that you're failing. We're going to work this out so that you know how to take this path to go across the street. So that's just one way. I think the first thing is it's hard for leaders to let go of our ego, because after all, we're the ones who are selected into that position, or we're the ones that are running the company. But you have to let go of that ego and just simply trust.
Let go of the ego, simply trust. It leads to a good transition for where we are now. And thanks for sharing that story, by the way. I love it. And that transition is a segment we have here called Today is My January 1st. Now, for those folks who tune in every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you already know what we're about to do. We do this segment and you wait to say these magical words. Today is my January 1st. Happy New Year to you, by the way. For all the folks who are joining for the very first time, thank you so much. It's an honor and a privilege to have you here. You have choices. You choose to be with us. But today is my January 1st is our personal mantra at the Happy Entrepreneur Show. It represents a fresh start. It represents a do-over. It means our past, no matter how dark and gloomy that past is, or how bright and sunny that past is back there, the past really no longer equals the future. And so my question for Carla on the other side is really twofold. Number one, just when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what even goes through your mind? What do you hear? And number two, what was another time maybe in your career or in your path that there was some setback? And how were you able to bounce back from it?
Okay, today is my January 1st, and I'm going to kick butt this year. That's my thought. That is truly my thought. And a setback that I have, I would say, actually, I probably can think about a couple of setbacks. I think a setback that I have, this is a weird setback. I was hired by some people. This is in the private industry. I was hired by some people to manage a collection agency. Now, Che, you don't know, but I used to be a bill collector years ago.
All right, go ahead now. Go ahead. Nothing wrong with that.
That's right. It was a job. And so these guys that I knew, they built their own collection agency. And they asked me to be the general manager. I was like, okay, great. So I had quite a few people under me. I had like a sales manager, clerical manager. I had some other folks under me. Well, I thought I was helping one of my employees, just to help him to grow. Didn't realize that his girlfriend was a part of my clerical staff. Well, she thought I was giving attention to him because I was interested in him. And it became this huge ordeal. And just like when I was started looking around, I'm like, how did you build that in your mind? This particular employee needed help. He needed my help. But I couldn't change her mind. So the setback was I just started yelling at her and demeaning her like, you need to get yourself together. That's a stupid thought. What makes you think I would ever want this guy? I shouldn't have handled that at all. That was a poor way of responding to her and responding to the situation. Had it been years later, I would have just spent time talking to my leaders and asking them for their wisdom, for their direction on how to handle this, to represent both employees in two different situations. Because the guy was telling me, Carl, I don't know where she's getting this from. I have no idea. I mean, I didn't know whether to believe him or not, but I should have sought, like I said, wisdom and direction on how to handle this to represent both employees, to represent myself as their manager, and to represent the organization. But I didn't. I went to the immature side and had my finger, let me tell you something, young lady. Basically, I'm the boss. Shut up and sit down. But I handled that poorly. So that was a setback for me.
Yeah, thanks for being so transparent and so open. Did the couple ever get married? Is there an ending to that story, or did you just move on in life?
I just moved on in life.
Okay, I didn't know if there was a plot that this person is someone you end up. I just wasn't sure. I was waiting in case that there was a twist like a movie. I was like, oh, what no, I'm just joking with you. One of my favorite questions to ask as we're coming down the home stretch is, what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given? And I'll frame it for the audience so they're very clear that you work with so many mentors along this journey of life. You've read countless books, I'm sure, videos. I don't even track how many hours I watch anymore. It's like 10,000 hours is a joke. I can do that on my thumb on the weekend.
Yeah.
But if you had to step back and mention that, what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given that you want to share with the audience, and why?
Okay. So it's in my little book. It's from a lady that was at our church. She passed away about 10 years ago. Her name was, we called her Ma Singleton. And as I started to progress in my life, meaning, I'm just put it on there, more money, I started to, I said, oh, I'm going to purchase a nice car, fully loaded, 6-cylinder. And then I started to shrink back. One time I was taking her home, like, I don't deserve this. And she took her finger and said to me, you only come around here one time. And I thought, okay, so it's not an item that you purchase, it's different things that you dream of in your life. That's how I took it. Not an item, not a car, but just different things that I wanted to, I dreamed of in my life, such as running a business, such as traveling to different places.
Yeah.
And also last September, I said I had a goal of becoming an international speaker. I went to Portugal and spoke. And I was like, okay,
Congratulations.
that's thank you. That's what she means. You only come around here one time, one time. And that is something that I have stuck in my head. And from a 93-year-old woman, and it just, I can't tell you what it means to me. So sometimes when people say, I don't know if I got, what is it that you really want to do it? Yeah, it's my dream. It's my lifelong dream. Well, you only come around here one time. You need to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. One time we get one trip if we're lucky, right? We are.
Yep.
So let me ask a question. For where you are in your life right now, what does success look like for you? What does it feel like for you?
Okay, so it's different than when I was um, when I was working for the Department of Navy. Success was climbing that ladder. Success now means, of course, this is a successful business, but it also means taking care of Carla Coates. That's one of the biggest things I can tell you. My relationship with the Lord and taking care of me. As I mentioned earlier, I take off, just started taking off every Friday. But looking at myself to say, you are important. Yeah, you want your business to just, explode all over the world, globally. Carla L. Coates. Mm-mm. I need to take care of me. That's what success looks like. My personal dreams. And I tell you, Che, this is I'm gonna tell you all one of my dreams that I haven't shared too much. As a kid, I loved musicals, West Side Story, The Wiz, all that stuff. And I said, you know what? One of my dreams, I need to go and back to a dance studio and learn um, some different forms of dance. I've put that off for years, but this is another year that Carla's going to take care of herself. So that's what success looks for me, that I can enjoy my life along with having a business.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you're not out saving the world and making other people's lives better, what do you do for fun?
Travel. And you know what? It could be, and I'm a simple person too. I went to Central Pennsylvania. My brother and sister-in-law just had a baby last week. So
Congratulations.
I drove up there and coming back, you drive through the mountains in the snow, then you enter Maryland and all, it's like the skies are blue. So that Central PA mountain landscape is something. But I enjoyed the trip. Like I mentioned, Portugal. I enjoyed going to Portugal. But that is one of my things. Just either it could be simple trips or it could be something this major. That's what I enjoy for fun.
Fantastic. As we come down the home stretch, two-part question. Number one, what type of clients is your firm looking to work with these days, if any? I'm not sure if you're taking on any clients. And number two, what should people do if they want to connect with you? Like over and beyond this conversation, and some folks are listening to the podcast and you're in their ears like, well, what do I do? What do I do? Take a moment. What should they do? What website should they go to? Go ahead and give them the instructions, please.
Okay, so they can reach out a couple of ways. And my website is coatesconsultinggroup.info, not .coats, but I mean .com. It's .info, coatesconsultinggroup.info. Or they can email me at Carla, Carla, at coatesconsultinggroup.info. Those are some ways. I'll send also some information where they can reach a QR code. The clients that I'm looking for, I'm actually building a group coaching for women over 50 who are currently working and who are wondering, what am I going to do in my next chapter? So that's who I'm starting to work with here lately. Those women, because they are powerhouses. They took care of everyone, built wonderful marriages. They're empty nesters. And they wonder, what am I going to do in my next chapter? I know I'm going to be awesome, but what will it be?
Well, let me say two things. Number one, thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. Thanks for being authentic. And, you got me thinking, what can I say no to? So it opens up yes to other opportunities. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. And thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
And thank you. Thank you to viewers. Thank you so much for tuning in, by the way. You have choices and you choose to be with us. And so I never get tired of reminding you every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, no matter what's going on in your life, whether you're doing really, really well, you're going to that next level of success, or you've been hit with the punch that you never saw coming. The one thing I do believe is that today is your January 1st. And because of just that one reason alone, I believe your best is still yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. My name is Shay Brown. I'm out. Peace. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Tell Carol I said hello when you talk to her, okay?
Sure will.
Bye-bye.